Is Sylvia Staples, and I am the Resource Assistant Program Manager out of the Washington office. And I'm excited to be here with you guys today to share information about the Resource Assistant Program. Okay, sorry. I think I got stuck here for a second. Okay, there we go. So the Resource Assistant Program was established back in 2016 in the U.S. Forest Service, and it is a rigorous and immersive paid experience that we provide that conservation, natural, and cultural resource experience to those that are current students as well as recent graduates. This program allows us to really provide an opportunity to those that come from those underrepresented or underserved communities and minority serving institutions. To date, we have engaged over 1,000 plus resource assistants in the program. And again, those that come from those HBCUs, which are historically Black colleges and universities, tribal colleges and tribal schools, as well as your HSIs, your Hispanic serving institutions, and a number of other institutions. This program allows us to provide a workforce development opportunity to give you on the job training and development professionally. And we want to attract diverse representatives to bring them into our workforce to provide an inclusive and diverse workforce. You are partnered with a Forest Service employee, which we would call your mentor, who will provide that developmental experience and mentorship while you are working with them, along with other Forest Service employees who may be on your staff or in your respective region, forest, or area. We really try to provide that, again, that professional development, because that's what this program is about providing that professional development experience. In this program, we do provide a number of benefits, starting with a stipend. That stipend can be from $500 all the way up to $750 a week for each participant. And that stipend just depends on the position as well as the educational level of that participant. We also provide a living allowance of $1,000 a month, and that is provided to all participants, whether you're working in person or working virtually. You also receive $50 a month as a commuter allowance if you are working in person. In addition to that, each participant will receive $2,750 of training travel funds. These funds can be used for any type of professional development opportunities. So, if there's a conference or a workshop or a training that one may be interested in, or even a certificate program, you are able to tap into these funds to provide that service or that opportunity. You will also receive healthcare if you would like to opt in, or you can opt out, and that those funds can be reallocated to provide additional training and travel support. In addition to those benefits, one will also again receive that opportunity to network and be mentored by Forest Service professionals and those that we call SME, subject matter experts. Upon completion of the minimum 960 hours, you will receive a certificate. That certificate will allow you to have two special hiring authorities. One is going to be the non-competitive hiring eligibility, which will allow you to have that internal status, meaning when you apply to jobs on USA Jobs, you're able to apply for those positions that one normally would not have access to. Secondly, you receive the direct hire authority, which is the DHA. You may be directly appointed into a position without further competition. You still must meet the open requirements. So there are positive educational requirements for those professional series positions. But coupled with your experience that you have, you can be directly appointed into those positions. And again, you see here that you must be 17 years of age, you must be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Complete those 960 hours, and you must at least have a minimum associate's degree in order to be issued a certificate. At this time, we do engage cohorts twice a year. We have a winter cohort that typically starts in January, the end of January going into February, and a summer cohort that starts in June. These positions are across the board, if you will, as far as law enforcement, admin, law enforcement, officers, budget and finance, conservation education, public affairs. We also have positions that are field-based positions, GIS, engineering, forestry positions, wildlife biologists, you name it. And it's a potential opportunity for you to be in a position like that in the program. We also provide onboarding support as well as orientation. So each RA will have to go through a 1 week orientation to learn more about the agency and about the program. Some of the roles and responsibilities and people that the resource assistant will be engaged with will be us at the Washington office, because we do take care of all the onboarding to get to know our staff as we onboard you and provide you that also professional development experience, as well as you will have regional office support if you are working throughout the agency in one of our various regions. The host unit and your mentor is who you will have direct supervision and direct contact with, and they will be the one that will provide you with that those work opportunities, those your work plan, your daily activities, and then last but not least, you have the partner organization who will be administrating a lot of your benefits. So you will have a partner program manager that you will be working with too if you are in this program. This slide here just kind of shows some of our, well, all of our partners. At the bottom, we have our regional partners, as well as at the top, you have our national partners. So if anyone is interested in this program, you can go to our partners site and learn more about them as an organization, as well as visit their job boards and apply to the positions. So we have a number of positions with each cohort, and each partner will host various types of positions. So it's important for you to visit each partner job board to learn about the positions that they are hosting. This just gives a quick snapshot of, again, some of those benefits that I kind of went over, that living allowance, housing allowance. And this is just a snapshot of ways to contact myself and my staff, and again, to learn more information about the Resource Assistant Program. And we will drop this information in the chat box, and I'll be around for the remainder of the day if there are any questions. So thank you. All right, so at this time, I'm gonna see if there are any questions while we wait to see if Marlene has been able to join us. And I
I
see
have a
that you
question.
have come on camera, Lawrence. Yes, of course.
Oh, great. Yeah, I didn't realize you saw that. The question I have that often comes up when we talk generally to about other programs at USDA is, uh, will the recipients of the RAP program, will they be taxed eventually, or may they be taxed on their living and housing allowances?
Yes. So that won't come out, of course, while they are being engaged. So they will be responsible for paying the taxes on those at the end of the year.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So I see that Marlene has been able to join us. So Marlene, I'm going to pass it over to you to talk a little bit about the new director at the Workforce Development Program. So Marlene Mazik.
Thank you. Thank you, Sylvia. Appreciate that opportunity to share information about the Workforce Development Partnership Service Hub. I am sharing my screen. I'm just going to give a really quick overview and then open it up for any questions or conversation. First, I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Merlene Mazik. My email shows up as Mazie.Mazik, USDA.gov. I have several roles right now, one of which is acting director of the Workforce Development Partnership Service Hub, which has been a newly established organization within the Forest Service to improve, to facilitate a whole agency approach that fully integrates and prioritizes hiring authorities and builds our capacity to strengthen and expand high-performing and measurable workforce development partnerships. This role emerged out of my engagement with the USDA Forest Service equity planning effort and is directly related to action item number 3, achieve a representative, inclusive, and thriving Forest Service workforce. I also support the work the Forest Service is doing around regarding partnerships and building our capacity for climate resilience project work in partnership with the Natural Resources and Environment Office, USDA office, and continue to support the work that we're doing related to all of these programs that align and provide opportunities for young people, emerging professionals, veterans, and others to work with us on forest lands and to learn about the kinds of work that's important that's necessary to this agency, and to build out the next generation workforce. So how did we get to the Workforce Development Partnership Initiative? Over the last several years, there's been increased emphasis on the work that we do with partners related to young people and others who help us accomplish our mission. Previously, the emphasis was primarily on volunteerism, but in the past 8 to 10 years, we've seen an escalated interest and need to work more effectively with partners to introduce work experiences to individuals who may have an interest in the natural and cultural resources, land management, and other environmental priorities that have confronted our nation, especially as it relates to our changing climate. What we found was that there were lots of programs the Forest Service was offering, but not a lot of collaboration so that we could leverage the opportunities and authorities that were available and offered through these programs. In the past 3 or so years, we also conducted a number of assessments that informed our thinking about this approach. And one of those, the 2 particular assessments really essentially arrived at the same conclusion, that we needed to consolidate or integrate all of our third-party internship and crew programs under one program area, elevate these programs, and then leverage resources to support them more strategically. This work is not the Forest Service core business, but it clearly became more of a go-to resource as the Forest Service found itself with lots of upcoming gaps in employees because of the existing actually retirement surge. Another study also looked at, how we could increase cooperation across all of our organization deputy areas and internship programs. They suggested that we define some minimum standards of engagement and then clearly communicate goals and objectives. Again, all of this fed into really some thinking and collaboration. How could we better support all of the agency as opposed to just the National Forest System, which primarily consists of our forests? So that's how we got there. As we put together this plan and took advantage of the equity planning effort that all of USDA is undergoing, we also reached out to our leadership, meaning our regional foresters and other executive leaders in the organization. And they were very supportive of the concept and the approach. They certainly understood that it would yield opportunities for increased effectiveness and efficiencies, as well as outcomes. And they liked the idea of a one-stop shop concept. They appreciate the fact that we were modeling this approach after some work that had been ongoing in Regions 8, our southern region, which serves the southeast coast, the southeast region of the United States and the Gulf region, and as well as some work that was occurring in Region 5. They cautioned us, though, that we needed to be careful about how we rolled out the new structure. We wanted that we should be ensured to keep flexibility for units to deliver these programs based upon where they were and then maturation of workforce development, and that we should certainly integrate this work with human capital planning. So I share that to say that the approach for workforce development partnerships service hub was not created in a vacuum. There were a lot of converging opportunities and events that led us to this point. And as most of you will know that if you are paying attention to the environment and the climate and what is happening around you, then this presented itself as an opportunity. Clearly, there was a need to be much more uh, uh, um, organized around the work that the Forest Service was doing with workforce development and with our partnerships. But the opportunity just was not available for us to move out on that. So we are very fortunate to be in this place. So what does that look like? The Workforce Development Partnership Service Hub will allow us now to organize all of our work related to students, resource assistance program that Sylvia just spoke about, and our emerging professionals partnerships. And many of these will provide direct hire pathways. We're bringing all of those programs in under one office. And some of those programs used to be organized under recreation, civil rights, and state and private forestry. Now they will all be organized in this unit. We're also going to consolidate our 21 CSC partnerships, our public land corps partnerships, the Indian Youth Service Corps, which we will be standing up this year in FY23. Very excited about that and really looking forward to how we can work with many of you to support that effort. And then, of course, our Legacy Youth Conservation Corps program, which we are proposing to expand significantly, which will also provide opportunities to work with tribal communities. And all of these programs will support Forest Service priorities, including climate resilience, infrastructure priorities, now the Inflation Reduction Act priorities that are helping us address our hazardous fuels and fire management strategies, as well as restoration and reforestation. Job Corps, although it won't be organized under the service hub, will certainly be a partner in delivering on this work together. I think that there even may be some opportunities to potentially expand outreach to tribal communities for Job Corps engagement at one of our 26/7 or 27, 20, I think it's 26 centers across forest lands. And we'll be working with the business administration support team to support this work and developing some SME strike teams to help us address some barriers that we have already identified related to how we can provide these pathways, job training experiences and inclusive of pathways to hire within the Forest Service and other industries and sectors. Just a little bit about the hires that have come to this program over the last, 8 years now through Q3 of this current fiscal year, which is our budget cycle. A fiscal year is a budget cycle. And as you can see, we are at 382 total hires. Expect that we will eclipse 400 by the end of this fiscal year, meaning the end of this month. This is not an impressive number, but the Workforce Development Partnership Service Hub is designed to help us elevate and increase those outcomes significantly beginning in FY23. We're already starting to see increased hires, partnerships, and these authorities, but there's certainly extensive high-level leadership in how we can essentially double, quadruple annual hires of candidates who come through these programs. And there's a strong emphasis on working with communities that will help us diversify our hires because that is a priority of the Forest Service. They want to build a workforce of the future that looks like this country. And unfortunately, our workforce is not as representative as we want it to be. So the establishment of the Workforce Development Partnership Service Hub is an opportunity for us to lean in to how we can better support and create a workforce that serves all of America. This is just an overview of the process that we're going through to establish the service hub. I won't spend a lot of time here. Right now, we're in the process of socializing the Workforce Development Partnership purpose and approach. And this presentation to this audience is a part of that socialization process. All in all, we are hopeful that in the next several months, we'll be able to share more information about how tribal communities can be partners with us in this work. I'm real excited about the Indian Youth Service Corps and what that's going to look like and how we can work with our tribes and other organizations and indigenous populations to better serve those communities, as well as to help allow them to help us better achieve our mission. So with that, I will stop and open it up to any questions or comments that folks may have. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is
Hello.
K7 with the Nez Perce tribe.
Hello,
I'm
Kay.
non-Forest Service, non-USDA. What is a semi-strike team?
Oh, it's subject matter experts. So one of the challenges, for instance, we are interested in how we can have a stronger relationships with our other land management agencies so that individuals who come through our programs have this direct hire authority, that they will now also be able to use those certificates to get hired in other federal agencies with similar programs. So a subject matter expert strike team is an ad hoc short-term team that will come in and help us solve those types of problems and other barriers that we're finding for the program. Okay. Kay, you have your hand up again?
Yes. Yeah, and then with the
Yes.
Indian Youth Service Corps, how is that going to look when it's implemented? Will there be like a national organization? Like we see in the Pacific Northwest we have like a regional organization that processes all the Youth Conservation Corps recruitments and enrollments. Will that be the same similar arrangement?
So we are working very closely with the Office of Tribal Relations to develop the Indian Youth Service Corps program. We will be utilizing the Public Lands Corps and the Resource Assistance Authority. So there will be some expectations standards related to those authorities. But it is really quite an open book, a blank slate right now, and hopeful that we will be able to offer programs on tribal lands. Certainly we'll be doing a lot of work with reforestation on forest lands and have a commitment of $5 million right now to support reforestation projects with the Indian Youth Service Corps on forest lands. But we want to expand that work beyond just forest lands because the Indian Youth Service Corps really emphasizes project opportunities on Indian lands as well. So still in development. If you have recommendations, highly encourage you to share those with our Office of Tribal Relations because they are our primary lead on what the Indian Service Corps will look like. Any other hands, questions? I'm not monitoring the chat. Let me do that. Okay, sounds like we're good, Sylvia and Latasha. I don't see any more questions or comments in the chat. You're silent.
I think you're on mute. So
I was, thank you.
I'm
All right. Thank you so much, Marlene. We appreciate that presentation um, and your responses. Not sure if Marlene will be able to stick around, but for the time being, if you have any additional questions, you can drop them into the chat box and she can answer them, or we can also share any questions with her at the end if she's gone. So thank you again, Marlene.
You're welcome.
All right, at this time, we are going to transition to our next session, which is going to be our partner presentations, where you will hear from our National Resource Assistant Program partners. So the program that I just covered, the Resource Assistant Program, you'll now hear from our 5 national cooperators to learn more about their organization and how they partner with the Forest Service. And so I'm going to ask them to come on camera. As I call your name, we're going to go ahead and share screen. Vanessa, if you can pull that up. And we're going to start with Environment for the Americas. Vanessa, if you can. Okay, there she is. Good morning, Catherine.
Hi, I'm sorry. I was yeah. But it's been such a good presentation so far. I learned a lot yesterday and today. And yeah, I'm happy to share a little bit about environments for the Americas.
Okay, well, all right. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump right into this session. So again, this is going to be the session for the Resource System Program partners. And go ahead into the next slide, Vanessa. And to kick us off, we're going to hear from Catherine Shorten with the Environment for the Americas. Next slide.
Okay, so Environments for the Americas, we started our internship programs around 2009. And it was all around birds, and it was basically about connecting diverse people across the Americas to birds and nature through the research, education, outreach, and internship opportunities. But go to the next slide, please. Okay, so we are 10 plus years in coordinating internship programs. We've had over 400 interns, and this year alone, we've had over 100 interns we've managed throughout the different internship programs. I'm the program lead for our resource assistant program, but we also have a program assistant who helps us administratively and a communications fellow that really helps with social media, which is doing so much good work with recruitment. Next slide, please. Okay, so in addition to the Resource Assistance Program, we also have Latino Heritage Internship Program, Mosaics in Science, Fish and Feathers, the Golden Gate, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, but this is ever growing. So we are working with our youth in different ways, in different programs to meet the needs that they have. Next slide. Our interns get to do a multitude of different jobs, and we take our partnership with the Forest Service very seriously. You heard earlier about how Sylvia said that they get their Forest Service mentor who are really teaching them the job, but you also get me, and I am helping advocate for yourself professionally. We also offer additional professional development. We kind of handhold to try to reduce any barriers for our interns to be able to, matriculate into the program and become the working professionals that we know that they can be. Next slide. So, like I was saying, we have lots of network opportunities. Our blogs get one of the requirements our interns are blogs about what they're doing, where they're working, what they're learning, what they're seeing. And it's just done great work in allowing other potential interns to see what's possible for them, to see people who look like them doing this great work. And the National Geographic has reached out to a couple of our interns about their blog work. That's just something good to say. And next slide. These are just some these are just some previous interns that are working now, all of them in the Forest Service full time. And the last slide. So for any more information, I know that everyone is going to get information about how to connect with us, but this is our website, and the QR code will take you right to the place where you can learn more about all of the internships available with Environments for the Americas. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Catherine. It's really a pleasure to work with you throughout this program. EFTA is one of our newest partners that we started working with in the Resource Assistance Program since last year, and they are doing great work, and we're excited about our continued partnership with them. So thank you so much, Catherine. All right, next up, we're going to hear from MANRRS. Ashanti?
Uh-oh. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for having us. I am Ashanti Smith with the National Society of MANRRS, and let's get started. MANRRS is a team of 5. Dwayne Matthews is our program manager. Ebony Preston is someone we brought on this year to help grow our resource assistant program as the MANRRS internal rep coordinator. Ebony Weber is our chief COO. I'm Ashanti Smith. I'm our business manager, and I handle all of our HR and day-to-day operations. And then we have our university relations coordinator, Dr. Tina Wu, who works with our chapters and universities across the United States and Puerto Rico. And then last, Mr. Ian Smith, who works with our junior MANRRS initiatives, 7th through 12th grade. Next slide, please. MANRRS was founded in 1984 and incorporated in 1989, so we've been around a little over 30 years. But our main focus is to support and mentorship those in the underrepresented communities in the STEM, so the science, technology, engineering, agriculture, mathematics community. Next slide, please. Our organization overview, we try to touch everyone at every level. We believe that we are truly changing the face of agriculture by linking hands around the world. We combine our passion for improving quality of life, diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, and new ideas and perspectives to enhance the world around us. This is a little bit more about our mission and vision here at MANRRS. And next slide, you can skip that one. Next slide, please. Okay. Our essence, so we connect on multiple levels throughout our organization. That is professional development, engage more network, and diverse workforce. Next slide. Like our structure, like I was saying earlier, MANRRS is a 501c3, a nonprofit organization based in Atlanta, Georgia. We are a small but mighty staff. Like I mentioned earlier, there are 5 of us here in the national office, and then we have consulted Dr. Ebony Preston to help us on board. But our membership is made up of, our governing board is made up of all volunteers that help lead the organization, and most of them have been around since MANRRS beginning. Next slide, please. We can go to the next slide. Are we frozen?
Vanessa? Vanessa? Next slide. There you go.
Is it changing?
Yes, it was changing. Which slide?
Oh, yeah, okay, yep, this one, sorry.
Okay.
Like I mentioned earlier, MANRRS has an active database of over 10,000 members, and 2,000 of them are active members. We're an organization, we like to say you can be a member at every level, starting at the junior MANRRS level, which is our 7th through high school initiative to introduce young students to ag. We're located in 39 states and Puerto Rico. Most of our chapters or university relations are connected with HBCUs and Hispanic serving institutions. It has been a strategic goal plan of ours over the last 3 years to introduce 1994 universities, and hopefully we'll be bringing on one here in the near future. But it's a wonderful organization to be a part of. I've actually been a part of it since I was in high school myself, and I've matriculated through the organization and I work here. So I definitely believe in the work that we're doing behind the scenes to help increase our membership and grow the next generation of leaders. Next slide, please. This is so important, and the reason why we're here today. So our signature programs and scholarships, MANRRS, these are just a few of the programs and scholarships that we do. But over the last 5 years, we have been kind of a workforce development organization. We started with the Bureau of Land Management summer internship program about 5 years ago. And then 2 years ago, we became a National Resource Assistance Program partner. And we are, I think, on our 4th cohort, and it has been so exciting to have these students come on board. I think we've actually gotten like 2 hires so far. So it's very exciting. And similar to Egna, I am one of the persons that the students will work with on a day-to-day basis to make sure they get everything that they need to start the internship, for looking for housing, relocation, supporting them throughout their journey with their stipends and things like that. And I want to say that we're very hands-on because we're such a small staff. We try to make sure that we give the students the one-on-one attention that they need. And another reason why we brought on Ebony is because she's done this before and she's great at it. So she has been an excellent resource to those students as well. We also have scholarships that we do offer our students throughout the year, all the way from high school to graduate student levels. Next slide, please. Our regional clusters is one of our premier fall recruitment events that starts later this month, all the way through Veterans Day weekend. Similar to our national conference, these have a opportunity and networking fair, mock interview and chances for networking, and student competitions where they can win prizes and money. The next slide is our national conference, which is open to everyone, similar to our regional clusters. And it also has a opportunity fair, a huge opportunity fair, chances to network, my interviews. It was the next slide, I'm sorry. Have competitions and network, win scholarships and prizes. And we'd like to invite anyone to join. There will be opportunities for students to submit contests to attend the conference for free. So that be on the lookout for that on our website. But our conference is in Atlanta, Georgia this year, April the 13th through the 16th, and we hope you all can join us. Next slide, please. And these just are a few partnership benefits and opportunities. Like I was mentioning about our regional clusters, the national conference, one of the premier things about our organization is that you can have access to America's largest pool of underrepresented students in food, agriculture, natural resources, and related sciences. So come to MANRRS, I'm sure you'll find something, a student and a professional. And we can skip all of this next stuff. Next slide, please. And we can skip all of these. The next slide is our partnerships and programs. I'm sorry, our partners that I just wanted to highlight that we have access in our network with. I think that's 2 slides from now, Vanessa. And our partners have access to our student database, where they also provide development training to those. And then we also do that for our partners as well. We're looking to get more into the diversity, equity, inclusion training space. And like I was mentioning earlier, these are a few of our partners that we work with. Jobs, internships, the network is huge, and we are continuing to grow. And I think that is all I have. Thank you all for having us. And I'll be around if you have any questions about MANRRS. Please feel free to visit our website and stay up to date with more information.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ashanti. And as she stated, MANRRS is to one of our newest partners. They are smaller numbers, but mighty in the opportunities and the support that they provide to our resource assistants. So we're excited about, again, the continued partnership with the MANRRS organization. So thank you so much, Ashanti. All right. Next up, we are going to hear from the Hispanic Access Foundation. Nina.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Glad to be part of this presentation. It's been great to see all the presenters we've had, and thanks for everyone who's made this possible. So I'll just dive in and discuss the Mono project. Can we advance to the next slide, please? I think I might have a duplicate of this one, so you can go one more. There we go. So Hispanic Access Foundation, our mission is to connect Latinos with partners and opportunities to improve lives and create an equitable society. We do that through a number of different initiatives. We have a robust conservation program at the front lines of policy and advocacy for the environment as it pertains to Latino communities and communities of color. We also have a faith-based leadership program and a health program with similar goals in their fields. But what the Mono project addresses is our workforce development program. Similar to our partners here, we are all about addressing the gaps in employment for people of color, not just Latinos, particularly in public lands, as our main partners, as you see there, are the Forest Service, National Park Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, the Bureau of Land Management, and Bureau of Reclamation. So we work with all these great agencies to structure fellowship and internship opportunities that will address that gap and connect folks with the resources to be successful, whereas other internship programs may not provide the support that you need, whether it's funding for living expenses, funding for professional development, or just compensating you for your time. That is an expectation that we have for people entering this program, to be able to make a fair wage and while advancing their careers. And so that's what we strive to do. Next slide, please. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Well, while we wait for that slide to come up, I can dive into a little bit about what's on it. The next slide is just going to be an outline of our program history. And so we started off in this area of workforce development in 2014 as part of the Latino Heritage Internship Program, also known as LHIP, with the National Park Service. Since then, we have grown. In 2015, we entered agreements with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and those continue to progress with new regional agreements every year. Thank you. So now you can see a bit of an outline of that expansion. So 2016, we had a new agreement with Fish and Wildlife Service. In 2017, we brought on the Bureau of Reclamation, National Credit Union Administration. In 2018 is when we first began working with the U.S. Forest Service as part of the Resource Assistant Program. Since then, we've also welcomed other agencies or other aspects of national programming, such as the Conservation and Outdoor Recreation Program with National Park Service and the Bureau of Land Management in 2019. We expanded into administering or participating in the Directorate Fellowship Program with Fish and Wildlife Service in 2020, which is a large national program of fellowships for Fish and Wildlife Service. And then the following year, in 2021, we became the sole administrative partner for that. We also welcomed the Civilian Climate Corps and another regional agreement, and also opened another regional agreement with National Park Service. And finally, here we are in 2022. We've reactivated our efforts with the Bureau of Reclamation. We've expanded into other programs of National Park Service. And one thing that's not reflected there for this year is we have just entered conversations or have initiated a program with Juan Bautista de Anza Trail to create an internship experience specifically for Indigenous students to communicate about the stories of the establishment of the trail and center Indigenous and tribal narratives. I'd also like to backtrack a little bit to this year of 2022. One thing that we were really happy to do as part of the Resource Assistant Program is initiate a similar recruitment effort with Indigenous and tribal students in the Rocky Mountain region, specifically to speak to the stewardship and of the land and in that area as it pertains to Indigenous practices and kind of reintegrating those into how the land is maintained. So that is definitely taking shape in our work, and we're really excited to continue to partner with these incredible agencies as we do that. Next slide, please. So the next slide is going to be just a little slide encompassing our mono team. We have a team of 5. So there's myself, I am the program manager for the mono project. We also have 4 associates, Anastasia Hernandez, Victoria Pedrosa, Crystal Strong, and Yashida Marie Valentin Feliciano. They're all a great part of our team. I am the core person of contact for the U.S. Forest Service program, as well as one other associate. And then we have our director, Michelle Newen-Schwander, who is seriously leading the mono project's efforts. And when we get to it, I can dive into the mono approach, which is 2 slides away or 3 slides away. And if there's some issue with kind of the freezing of the presentation, Sylvia, I also don't mind sharing my screen to advance it.
Is this the slide that you're wanting? The mono experience?
No. Oh, I don't see it.
Keep going.
I see the program history there.
Oh no, it's showing the mono experience.
Okay, I just caught it. Thank you. All right, I'll resume here.
Okay. Nina, we don't hear you. Did you mute yourself?
Oh, so sorry. Thank you. I'll go ahead and start again. So the mono experience, one thing that these are the core things that we provide with every experience, whether it's with the REP program or our other agencies, which is partnerships that are committed to mentorship and development. As you've heard here with Marlene and with the things that Sylvia and other staff have presented, they are very committed to making sure that you're not just doing the core responsibilities of your fellowship or internship or assistantship, but also being able to grow your particular set of skills and develop your talents. And that's something that we invest in as well. I already spoke to the element of advocating for equity in pay. That's negotiating fair wages, housing stipends, and professional development funds. So that once again, we can bring more people into this who don't have the opportunity to volunteer their time or take a role without compensation, so that your unique talents are also a part of this workforce, despite not having the same advantages other people may have. We also are able to offer, thanks to our agency partnerships, direct pathways to federal employment through direct hiring authorities or public land court authority eligibility, and that was addressed a little earlier today. Every intern and fellow is paired with a mono associate or manager like myself, who is able to support you through your program. That's not just providing the HR pieces of onboarding and all of that good stuff, but making sure we find ways to tailor the program to you, leveraging those resources, the professional development funds, and getting to know your interests and what you want to learn out of your experience and being able to navigate those spaces. We also are very proud of our alumni network and create opportunities for networking and continued professional development as alumni who move out of our program. And of course, we spoke to the housing and travel arrangement assistance. So not just the funding, but being able to help you navigate those spaces if you need to relocate for a position or do field work. Next slide, please. And since I know it's a little delayed for me, the program cycle, there we go, I see it now. How our program works, this is what we do with every partner. We start off with the planning and negotiating and the advocating piece. And then agency partners really rely on us for thoughtful outreach to communities that they don't generally access. So part of our program is building relationships with colleges and universities, with student organizations, with local affinity groups, with tribes and Indigenous organizations, and building a reputation of trust so that it's not just another job posting. You know who we are, you know what we can provide, and we can establish that trust from the get-go. Then we move through implementation, really just getting the internship experience going with all those pieces we talked about in the last slide. Fostering connection with your fellow Mono Project colleagues across programs. So just because you're in the RA program doesn't mean you can't network with folks who are in NPS doing their fellowships and getting to commiserate on your shared experiences and passions. Finally, we guide you through those processes, through the hiring authority certification process to get you ready for the next step and hopefully gainful employment. And then, of course, we engage you all in that networking and continued development as alumni. We are very happy to continue to support you in the next steps of your journey. Next slide, please. So to connect with us, if you want to learn a little bit more about the program, not just what I've got to say, but some of the great things all of us are doing at Hispanic Access, and not even just Mono Project, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I think we're getting a TikTok, but I don't know where we're at with that yet. But you can look up Hispanic Access Foundation or just Hispanic Access to find us on any of those platforms. And then last slide, please. I will go ahead and copy these contacts into the chat, but if you want to connect with any of us, our emails are there. There I am listed, as well as my fellow program associates and Michelle Newman-Schwander, if you'd like to learn more about the program. So thank you all for having me here today, and I'm excited to hear from the other presenters.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nina. Hispanic Access has been one of our longer standing partners, and we appreciate the work that they do with us in the Resource Assistant Program. And it's really important for one to understand who HAF is and what they're about, because just like the Forest Service, there's a lot of misconceptions of who we are as an agency. There's also the misconception with Hispanic Access Foundation. So you do not have to be Hispanic or Latina to apply for their opportunity. So thank you so much, Nina. Okay, next up, we're going to hear from MobilizeGreen. Lib, if you can try to turn your camera on and possibly your mic, see if it works. Okay, 1 second. Lib, are you here?
They're here. Might be having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, I know he said he was trying to test his mic earlier. Wasn't sure if he was able to come off of mute. Okay, but his camera did work earlier, so we were hoping that his mic would too. 1 more second. Okay, so we'll come back to MobilizeGreen and we'll move forward and go ahead and hear from Green and Youth Foundation. So Vanessa, if you can move forward to Green and Youth Foundation.
Thank you.
All
Hi,
right.
everyone.
Hi, Jana.
My
Take it
name
away,
is
Jana.
Jana Reed Thompson. I'm with the Greening Youth Foundation. Thank you so much for the opportunity to meet with you all today and share a little bit about Greening Youth Foundation. And if we could go ahead and go to the next slide. Greening Youth Foundation began its work 17 years ago under the vision of our founder, Angelou Eslo, to provide diverse, underserved, and underrepresented children, youth, and young adults an opportunity to develop into responsible environmental stewards. And we do that through lots of different programming and initiatives that I'll talk a little bit more about in the next slide. I'll start by talking about our Youth Conservation Corps, because that is the department under which we house the Resource Assistance Program, and we work with several other agencies to provide opportunities for recent college graduates interested in entering the field. Our program focus areas are environmental education, Youth Conservation Corps, Urban Youth Corps. But again, this program is one where we house the Resource Assistance Program. It provides youth and young adults with skills, transformative experiences, and support that prepare them as the next generation of global environmental leaders. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about some of our other programming in the next slide, and also elaborate on the work that we do with the Resource Assistance Program. Some of the other programs that we also support through the Greening Youth Foundation are Forever Green, or Green Box. That is our environmental program for students K through 12. We definitely believe in activating the new generation of environmental stewards, and that starts young. So that is one of our initiatives here in the Atlanta area where we are headquartered. We also have the Urban Youth Conservation Corps. The Urban Youth Conservation Corps program engages at-promise youth ages 18 to 25 and provides them with full-time transformational work experiences, trainings, certifications, skills, and support that boost their careers. And it's for 1 year. The program marries intensive soft skills and technical training with on-the-ground field experience at natural and cultural resource development projects. And if we could go back to the slide for programs. One back, yep. And I mentioned our Youth Conservation Corps is our biggest program that helps support our collegiate programming, Resource Assistance Program being one of our bigger programs. We have actually been working with the Forest Service, or in partnership with the Forest Service, through the Resource Assistance Program since 2016. And this is one of our programs that really supports the belief that youth and young adults from diverse backgrounds can greatly benefit from career opportunities within the conservation field. And with all of our programs, there are lots of different benefits, but I'll highlight just a few in the next slide. Some of the benefits of many of our programs, again, through our educational programming, the Youth Conservation Corps and the Urban Youth Corps, are that all of our experiences are paid. There are opportunities to really test drive careers in the conservation field. So if you've never entered the field and you're not really sure where you fit, this is something that allows you an opportunity. Our internship programming allows you an opportunity to really discover what it is that you enjoy doing and where your skills lie. And if there are ways that you want to develop, really develop your skill set so that you can be successful in the field. We help to translate academic studies to real world situations. You're also able to develop a professional network. So not only do you have your network within the agencies that you're working with, but you also have people here at Greening Youth Foundation, myself included, as project managers that will support you in your development, particularly with the Resource Assistance Program. Since there is a professional development stipend or allowance, we also coordinate opportunities and share opportunities with you that may benefit you in your program of interest. And then we also have our own professional development opportunities that you can receive through Greening Youth Foundation directly through professional development sessions that we offer on a monthly basis. And then you also gain eligibility for hiring authority certificates for many of our programs as well. So not only is it a foot in the door, but you then have authorities where you can actually enter into permanent opportunities beyond your internship programming. And as I mentioned, not only do you have that mentorship and coaching through Greening Youth Foundation and through your agencies, but we definitely partner with other people to make sure that you're getting all around support that you need in order to be successful in your programming. And if you could go to the next slide, I want to introduce some of our team members. We have a larger team, but I want to specifically highlight some of our team that work directly with the Forest Service, to include Shatiba Bradley, our Associate Director of Programs, myself, Senior Program Manager, and then Latasha Bell and Danny Miguel, who are both program managers that support our programs in partnership with the Forest Service. We are very intentional about making sure that we are understanding the unique needs and barriers that could come up while you're in your programming. So as project managers, we really work to minimize those barriers. We do things like one-on-one check-ins with all of our mentors. We have lunch and learns where not only do you get to network with your other Greening RAP interns, but if there are other programs, we include those interns as well. So you can network with all of the Greening Youth Foundation staff and interns through those lunch and learns. We also have site visits. When we're able to do that, we like to come out and support you and see the work that you're doing, and just make sure that your needs are being met. We realize that many times with internship programs, you're going into different regions that maybe you've never been in. And then this is your first time in the work field. So we definitely want to make sure that you have the support that you need to be successful. We have professional development sessions, as I mentioned, with the resume writing, interviewing, and that starts at recruitment. So whenever we've identified candidates, we support you in that capacity. And then just general mentorship, and we manage the stipends and again, coordinate that professional development for you as a team. And if you could go to the last slide. Looks like that's it. If there is any way that we can support you all, we definitely encourage you to visit our website. We are also visible on all of the social media as well. So we definitely encourage you to learn more about us through our website and the social media opportunities. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jana, for that presentation. The Green Youth Foundation is one of our, again, longstanding partners that we not only partner with for the Resource Assistant Program, but also the Public Land Course Program. We have a long history with them, and we look forward to, again, continuing engagement with the Green Youth Foundation. So at this time, we're going to go back to MobilizeGreen. Just going to do a mic check. Liv, can you hear us? Oh, I see you. I still don't hear you, but I do see you. And you're not muted. Okay, you joining from your phone? Let's see. Okay, let's see. Check your email. I think I sent you an email with the call-in number, if you're able to. So as we wait for him to get logged in on his phone, just kind of want to go over after this presentation, we will open it up for questions for our partners. So please stay engaged, and you can have a Q&A with all of our partners that you just heard from to learn more about their partner organizations. As well as we will have a networking session after this session. So we'll be able to break into smaller groups and breakout rooms and just kind of get to know each organization a little bit more and ask more questions about partnerships and success stories, as well as future opportunities. Okay, I think we have you. Can you hear us? Are you talking into your phone? Yes. Um, let's see. We still can't hear you.
I just
Oh,
opened up your mic. Try it again.
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm not touching anything, everybody. I'm so sorry. It was all a ploy because I told Sylvia to tell you I look like Brad Pitt, but now that's not going to work. So thank you very much for your patience, and hopefully this will work. I'm Leib Kaminsky with MobilizeGreen. I am their recruiting manager. A quick history of my background. About 25 years ago, I worked with a group called Salmon Corps, working with the Columbia River Intertribal Fishing Commission, placing young people in internships on tribal land. So I have experience working with many of the groups here, but now I'm with MobilizeGreen, and we're working on providing young people with career opportunities in the conservation and green field. We have been working with tribes since 2016. We have relationships with the Southwest and Rocky Mountains and other tribes, and we're currently working on expanding our relationships. Our key to our recruitment to help our mission is to really work with the schools, work with the tribal communities, working with our members, and really building a reputation of being able to place young people in the positions that we have to really be successful. Next slide, please. So I'll talk briefly about our resource assistant program, but we have other programs as well. Our project-based internships. We just finished a summer program with 32 interns working on environmental justice issues in 6 cities across the country. We also have virtual intern programs, which of course are virtual, but they can be as short as 3 weeks and as long as 1 year. Our Youth Conservation Corps, which I also will talk about in a future slide. And we have events and career fairs where we bring all of our participants together to meet with professionals in the field, both in corporations and in government entities, to look at ways of finding jobs. Next slide, please. So our resource assistant program really works on these paid intern experiences. We have a variety of positions available, including engineering, GIS, special uses, but also tribal relations. So we work directly with the Forest Service, placing young people in positions, working with our tribes and Indigenous communities. And the benefits are the network and professional development opportunities. MobilizeGreen for our RAP interns provides monthly webinars and one-on-one mentorships with Forest Service staff and people in the community. Next slide, please. We also believe in a continuum of services. So what that means is we have programs also for younger people in high school that we're hoping to eventually feed into our college age and career-bound programs. The youth are generally 15 to 18, and they participate in a paid program that focuses on conservation projects and environmental education. This summer, we had programs in the Shoshone National Forest, as well as in the Superior National Forest. We had our young people doing daily projects and programs with the Forest Service and their staff, and then with MobilizeGreen staff, helping them build leadership skills. But then we are currently creating a tracking program working with our alumni to sort of keep in touch with them, to keep them engaged and involved in our programs. Next slide, please. So there's our contact information, but what makes MobilizeGreen unique is we try to remove barriers to the various programs. For example, in our summer program with our high school students, we actually were able to get chaperones to bring the young high school people from their tribal communities to the site, which in the past has been barriers. We work closely with the parents, sort of forming a bond and a trust so that we can let their young people come with us on these programs that are halfway across the country from where they live, showing them that we sort of take care of them. We create a sense of community within our own program so that people can learn and meet new people, but then they create a community themselves, sort of a younger conservation environmental community. And that brings that to the RAP program and our other programs so that, again, we're creating this continuing thing of service. And, you know, we really focus on meeting the needs of our participants. Patty Busby is the manager of the program. There's her information. I certainly can answer any other questions you may have. My email is just my first name, labe@mobilizegreen.org. So if you do want to reach out to me directly, I would appreciate that, as I'm constantly recruiting young, diverse people of color to fill our positions throughout the country. And it's always good to have tribal relations, especially when I'm filling tribal relations positions. So just a little plug for that. And thank you so much. And again, sorry about the technical issues. I will put myself back on mute, but I'm afraid the camera might knock me off, so you're just going to have to see me.
No problem at all. Thank you so much for that presentation, Lee, and we don't mind seeing you. So thanks, MobilizeGreen. MobilizeGreen is again, one of our long-lasting partners through a number of different agreements and partnership and programs that we manage with them. And they have engaged to date the largest amount of RAs, managing RAs and RAs to be hired. So thank you so much, MobilizeGreen, for your continued support. So at this time, we're going to open it up for Q&A. So if you would like to ask one of our partners a question, you can just drop it in the chat, or you can use the hand raising function and we'll call on you to answer your question out loud. So anyone that would like to ask a question, feel free to do so now. So again, you can use the hand raising function or drop it into the chat box. And this can be open to any participants, whether you are a partner organization, Forest Service employee. So I guess I'll ask a question. And I guess this could be for any partners. What have your previous success been with engaging and recruiting from Indigenous or tribal colleges? So I guess any partner can maybe take that. UIF, or I know MANRRS is a new partner, but have you had any success with engaging any tribal colleges?
This is Ashanti with MANRRS. So we have a partnership, like I mentioned earlier, with USDA-MANRRS, and they have some connections with some tribal colleges. So we have reached out to those students, and we had one apply, but he rescinded his application. So we haven't had much success, but we're, still trying. So any suggestions that you all have would be greatly appreciated.
Liba, I know you mentioned something about your recruitment efforts as well with tribal schools and meeting with parents and such like that. So would you like to expound on some of those things that you discussed? Oh, can't hear you.
Can you hear me
Oh, I
now?
started to hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank goodness. I'm sorry. It keeps saying every time I push *6, it keeps saying you're now muted. And I'm like, yeah, well, over the years, and again, I have a different background because I've been working with tribal communities for 25 years. I have educators at various tribal communities that I contact directly. And they're really good about helping me identify young people. And again, I do the high school and the college age and RAP program. So it is a little bit easier with the high school community because they're still there. So I work with some of the teachers at the tribal schools. And just basically formed a network of young people as they graduate and end up in different professional careers to keep in touch with the communities. But a lot of it is connections. A lot of it is long-term, not short-term fixes. And I think, again, your program's in for the long haul. We're not in for just the one RAP. We want to keep in touch with them once they get placed in the Forest Service or other professional areas, and we can keep in touch with them. So, so that was my question. I was sort of trying to type out to some of our partners on here who might be within these tribal communities is various Indigenous cultures work in different ways. So if some people have the best way to kind of go and approach, I know for the college and the tribal schools, a lot of them push me through Handshake. And when you use Handshake in the recruiting, it becomes so much less personal. And I'm a people person. And so if anyone has any ideas on all the partners, where we're all trying to recruit, young people for our programs, what's the best way to work with you?
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I did see Lawrence pop on the screen. Lawrence, was there something that you wanted to add to the discussion?
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to MANRRS because I know that they've been working to help support a number of activities, including helping to fund in the past collaborations with schools and tribal college students to get them to the conference. That was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But one of the more important things that's kind of resonating these days was the inclusion of Dr. David Yarlett in its most recent series of conferences. And the positive feedback I'm giving is that he gave positive feedback to other tribal college presidents about the engagement and the opportunity to participate in a number of the sessions at MANRRS. So I think that things are beginning to resonate. Please keep it up, and we'll also work to try to help with that.
I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Lawrence. Are there any other questions? So Nina dropped into the chat. She echoed that question, Lee. We're always learning more. And Lip's question was, my question is, what is the best way for partners to recruit directly from tribal communities? I sometimes recruit directly from tribes. I know that on yesterday we had our panelists that were Forest Service employees who all had various pathways into the agency that kind of shared some of their insight. And so Latasha, would you like to come on and maybe share just a couple of things that were shared yesterday, or even from your own experience, what you think some of the best ways might be for the partners? And then we'll go into our breakout after that.
Yeah, definitely. I think my camera's having issues now or something. But if you guys can hear me, that's all that really matters. Yeah, so at the panel yesterday, I felt that a lot of the direct communication with the tribes, getting involved with them. I know Marley touched upon it with her position being on the district level. She's doing a lot of acknowledgement and mending of relationships with the local tribes in the area, even though she's not originally from the area. She's really from Hawaii, and so she doesn't have ties to this specific northern New Mexico area, but she does have that understanding of, the federal government, the history, the past, and understanding how the Forest Service works and how Land Management Agency works with all of our federal policies. And so she talked about more so mending the relationship, getting to understand one another, acknowledging each other's history, and doing your homework our homework actually of learning about the culture, the traditions, the specific history to the tribe, because it varies all across throughout Indian country and to the native Hawaii Islands. And so doing a lot of homework on where you want to recruit specifically. If you're going to a specific tribe, understand their history with the government, but also with other tribes in the area, and kind of gauging and understanding of their ways of life. So that's something that Marley brought up a lot during her answering during the questions. And for me personally, I feel that it's kind of funny because I started with the Forest Service through MobilizeGreen back in 2012. And it's crazy to think how far I've come along with that. And I love how MobilizeGreen was always open and always willing to listen and understand my perspective, where I'm coming from, my needs, in a sense of the culture, the cultural differences of how I viewed having a land management job versus how maybe some non-natives do. Just kind of the concept of owning land, public land, is kind of something that still slightly irks me a bit with just the terminology, but I believe that MobilizeGreen was always open to wanting to hear my opinion of that. And so I guess it kind of ties back into Marley again. It's just understanding that background and that perspective of differences of views. And with my work, I'd say definitely, yeah, doing your homework, getting involved, and like Leap said, you're a personal person. You want to talk to people directly. And with my work, trying to get some recruitment with tribal colleges as well, it is kind of unfortunate, kind of being shifted towards those emails and those virtual platforms where it will be a lot more beneficial to have in-person conversations, in-person meetings, to be able to have that one-on-one conversation a lot more quicker and a lot more in depth, in my opinion. So those are kind of like my 2 cents.
Thank you so much for that, Latasha. I see that we've had a few more people to join us. So before we get ready to go into the breakout rooms, I just want to kind of, while we're kind of on and up with our conversation, I don't want to stop it right now, and we will still have plenty of time for our breakout. But just want to read something that was in the chat. And for those of you that just joined, as well as those that were here before others have joined, if you don't mind just dropping into the chat maybe the organization that you represent and where